Now, oops, but yeah, if I remember correctly, we are coming up not to a, I don't really call them dungeons, but you know what, let's wait a minute, talk to everybody else. Yeah, we're going to the floating city, which is yet another plot significant area. Now, I will be honest, when it comes to the sort of plot significant areas when I'm playing the game for my own personal enjoyment, I appreciate them greatly because they give me somewhat of a break from the actual combat or, say, gameplay, while also at the same time giving me motivation, if done correctly that is, to continue playing the game. Saying this, when it comes to doing it for my channel, I'm not a fan because, I mean, I don't know what it is people like. I mean, I know I'm a person, but well, for one, I'm a high-functioning autistic with a bunch of other issues, very arguably violent past history. So my outlook is definitely not going to be the normal or general outlook of the masses. But I will think that when it comes to the sort of, like, going to a town and stocking up on items, talking to people, figuring out what you need to do in the town, figuring out who you gotta talk to, where you need to go in the town, shit like that, I don't think that will be considered very entertaining for the viewer. I mean, I know when I'm the one viewing the LP, I find there's a right and wrong way to do it, and basically the fact that there's a right and a wrong way to do it is why I won't be doing a lot of these big projects blind, because I get really frustrated, especially when it's a game that I'm familiar with or a game I know well. Where sort of a, you need to do this, go fucking do this, and yeah. So, frankly, I kind of want to get through the game quickly. But I also want to do it the way I normally play, so it's almost like, it's not even a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. It's no matter what I do, I'm going to be damned in regards to how I progress or how I feel doing it for these projects. Because if it were a matter of damned if I do, damned if I don't, chances are I'm going to do it anyways because fuck it. But this is more of a damned either way, so slightly different. Now, I don't think it was mentioned in my YouTube video, but I have a Twitch, which I'm trying to use. And I think I mentioned in my last live stream, which was broken up into 2 parts because of a failure. Oops. Anyways, I kept overhearing that the Canada Post, which is sort of the USPS for Canada, the federal post office, was not going to be delivering mail, it was only going to be delivering parcels now. I have some mail coming in, which I don't necessarily need, but really want. For some reason, they believed that they were canceling just the mail, but still delivering parcels, which makes no logical sense. Like, mail tends to be somewhat of a necessity. Parcels are the overall luxury items. But anyways, the whole thing made no sense when I overheard it. I went online to Canada Post, Twitter, even checked the Canada Post Facebook. I found nothing saying that they were canceling mail delivery, so I don't know where these people are getting their sources from. I also know that unless it's a complete state of emergency, like basically federal emergency, martial law, what have you, mail is considered to be somewhat of a arguably a necessary service, if for no other reason than there are people who gotta get their checks, there are people who gotta get their bills. Considering the virus happening right now, there's probably a lot of people on EI, employment insurance, as they got laid off. Now, when I was on EI, the employment check, the EI check, or POGI, came in the mail. People need the mail if for no other reason than they need to get paid to afford to survive this pandemic. So it doesn't make sense for them to cancel snail mail but keep parcels and want to know what they haven't. I mean, the mail I was expecting didn't come in, but there was a statement. The mail's not canceled. It will have to be like pretty much martial law for mail to be nationally canceled. I mean, there are times where mail gets postponed, but those are for understandable reasons, like severe weather. I mean, heck, we had a Canada Post strike not that long ago when mail was being delivered slowly but surely. And then when the strike ended, they were swamped with work, so, you know, joys of being on strike, you pretty much have to pay catch up when you decide to go back to work. So no, Canada Post is not canceling their mail delivery. I don't see how it will be legal for them to. I just think I think people are making fake accounts and posting it on social media to make people get into more of a panic. I mean, I can understand why they do it, but I don't agree with it, you know? I mean, I know there are people who get morbid entertainment from kind of quotes The Dark Knight, watch the world burn. I mean, I know there's morbid entertainment in that, and in a sort of bizarre way, I am like that to a less extent. Like, not necessarily watch the world burn, but if there's a shit show going on, let's say work or what have you, I'll watch it. Because I'm entertained by it, but in regards to this, I mean, I'm not getting entertainment value out of this because it's serious. My sort of morbid entertainment value is more watching the warehouse burn instead of the world, you know? But alas, or house, depending if it's a family thing, but alas, let's move on. There is... I mean, I'm hesitant to say this because whenever there's a tragedy, or in this case, pandemic, but let's be honest, no matter what happens, this is going to be considered a tragic event in history. Whenever something really terrible happens, and people want to point out the positive, I mean, it's almost it's like they want to see the positive, but when they find the positive, they don't necessarily want to say it. Because it's a pandemic or a tragedy or a very serious event, and you don't want to say anything good because of it. So when people point out the tragedy in regards to this, or sorry, the positive in regards to this current coronavirus situation, they're more pointing out the could be worse, like, you know, apparently children are, from what I understand, bear in mind I am by no means, this is unconfirmed, and I do know of a few, not personally, but I am aware of some very young children getting infected, but apparently, from what I heard, they can get infected and be carriers, but they don't really get sick from it. And they point that out as a positive, which it's not really a positive, it's where it could be worse. There is one positive out of this, which I am seeing. And I'm not talking positive as in, like, depending on your age, the survivability rate is very high. Depending on your age, the mortality rate is very low, because that's just, you know, like, yeah. That's only a positive depending on what age you are or what sort of health demographic you fit in. But it's not really a positive, it's more better for me, worse for other people sort of thing. Or what have you. But there is one positive that I am noticing anyways out of this, and that is that, like, yeah, don't get me wrong, people are still panicking and very annoyed and hyping this up, but in regards to the trifles, the things that you cannot do or cannot say, or walking on eggshells because it might offend somebody. The social justice warriors. It's easily offended. I can't help but notice that they have been very, very silent. And the reason they've been very, very silent is because of this. I mean, hard to bitch about some little thing that offends you when people are getting sick and dying all across the globe, you know? Like, I don't see the whole being offended by everything trend going away. I think it's more in a coma. But who knows, maybe it will die or be significantly weakened once this pandemic is over, for no other reason than people realize that there's significantly worse issues to worry about than whether someone hurt your feelings, or not even, in my particular instance, not even if I hurt their feelings, or if I said something and they think it might hurt somebody else's feelings. I mean, that's in a coma right now, and I don't see it truly going away. But, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, when the world is burning, in regards to what people are offended by and what they're scared by, they tend to get their priorities straighter. You know? But they're not going to complain about little things when they're the real world issues like this are happening. Like, I know this floats somewhere. But yeah, like, people are going to be picking what they moan and whine about very selectively now, considering there's what SARS Part 2 happening. You know? I mean, let's be honest, SARS was not nearly this bad, but damn it, buggered off. Let's be honest, every time there's a illness that the people get scared of, it's always worse than the last one. And the one that comes after this may very well be worse than this one. If for no other reason than everything constantly evolves. Including illnesses and viruses, so as we adapt and get treatment for the newest wave, well, that new wave is still evolving. It might take 5 to 10 years, it might take 100 years, but it's constantly evolving. So it's natural for the next one to be worse than the last. It's just, you know, we learn, we adapt, we move on. Unfortunately, there's some tragedies or some tragic prices we have to pay for this, but that's pretty much the price of living. Why isn't this? Damn it! Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. Why wasn't that moving? Oh, for fuck's sakes. But yeah. So, I mean, we'll adapt, we'll evolve, we'll survive as a whole. From what little I can see right now, there seems to be about a 6-week period of when things get real to things going back to normal, but the problem is the sort of, how can I say this, the standards of when things get real are basically when not martial law, don't get me wrong, not necessarily martial law, but when the military gets involved. When people are forced into quarantine and you have the military and hazmat suits just disinfecting literally everything, so bear that in mind. That might be what it comes down to, depending on where you are. Like, I don't live in a major city, and the fact that I don't live in say a major metropolis like New York or Toronto, Vancouver. I am Canadian, but I do live near one, and my city is big. So it may come to a point where shit gets real, and we have to stay indoors while the military passes by and literally sanitizes entire streets and what have you. I don't necessarily see it happening in my city, although it may. I can see it happening in Toronto and Vancouver. I mean, Vancouver is not only a major metropolitan area with an international airport, it's also a port city. A saltwater port city, because Toronto is more of a freshwater port city with an international airport. Even my city has a port, but you know, a ship has to travel a long way to go to the port, so there's really, you know, not really a major port city in regards to that. I can see it happening in those cities if it gets to that point. I mean, the city I live in, Hamilton, has 2 confirmed cases. I believe one of them's a doctor. There are plenty getting tested, but from what I've seen, just basically as the numbers, a lot of people have been tested and pretty much tested negative. They don't have the virus or the sickness. So I don't see it happening in this city, although we also do have a military presence. I mean, We do have an armory near downtown, but, you know. What I mean, that is if shit gets real. Once you sort of official shit gets real happens to things more or less getting back to the way things are, there seems to be about a 6-week waiting period. From sort of pandemic or outbreak to life continues back to normal. I mean, I'm not scared. I'm more concerned, I'm more afraid of the people panicking than the virus itself, but in case it's not blatantly obvious by now, I sort of have a low opinion of people as a whole. I know that in regards to my particular province, damn it, I was trying to sneak by, but I don't think I can there. I know in my province they're shutting down non-essential businesses, which makes me a little curious what is considered a essential business versus non-essential business. I mean, grocery stores, essential, pharmacies, essential, tobacconists, because I smoke a pipe and use snus and what have you, definitely non-essential. Restaurants? I would say no. But there are those who would argue that depending on the type of restaurant they are. Convenience stores. Hear me out on this. Convenience stores can be essential to some people in regards to whether or not they get to eat that day, or more specifically night. And they also supply, you know, depending on the kind of convenience store, they also supply grocery items, disinfectant,
toilet paper,
sanitary supplies. I mean, it could be argued that a convenience store, or definitely a gas station, because people need to fuel up, but the actual inside of the gas station where you pick up your tobacco, your cigarettes, and your snacks and what have you, those could be argued as essential. The banks, will those be considered essential? I mean, let's be honest. Let's go back to what started this kind of conversation. The theory that Canada Post was home delivery. because of this virus, there is a lot of people on unemployment insurance. And I'm hoping a lot of these people get their check in the mail. Well, if the banks aren't open, how do they cash their check? So, will banks consider a necessary business that must stay open? I mean, I know it's possible to deposit checks via photos, but what if your bank doesn't offer that? It's a credit union that doesn't have a fully functional app, or what if you don't have a bank account? What if instead of going to a bank, you go to one of these, I call them legal loan sharks, but you know what I mean, like Cash Money, Money Mart. Places where you go to get a payday loan and they also will cash checks for a fee. Like what if you don't have a bank account and you cash your checks at a cash loan place? I mean, are those considered essential? Are those going to stay open? I mean, I would think that as far as the provincial government is concerned, cash will not be considered an essential service. For understandable reasons, they do primarily payday loans. But I would argue that it is. Not so much for the payday loans, but for the fact that there are people who rely on these places to get their money, to deposit their checks, whether it be they don't have a bank account, but so they get their checks through work, or whether get their check in the mail through social assistance, whether it be welfare, disability. In this case, employment insurance, or I call it unemployment insurance because when you need it, you're unemployed, but I think the technical term is employment insurance, but I mean, there are people who rely on these places to get their money. So will these be considered essential? I mean, depending on the situation, I might go out and take a walk around, assuming there's a reason for me to go out and it's not just me morbidly satisfying my curiosity. But yeah, we'll see. What's considered essential and not essential? And does it deserve to get to this point right now? I would argue that, I don't know what to say, because I would argue that as of this point, it is not essential for the government to get what can and cannot stay open. But I also know that in regards to governmental concern, you don't want to be paranoidly cautious to keep this from being a outbreak. So again, it's one of those damned if they do, damned if they don't situations, and you know, no matter what, they're gonna get political backlash. So, yeah, do what you gotta do, you know? Even if I don't agree with it, I'll at least understand where you're coming from. Right now, our Prime Minister is getting flack for not declaring this a federal emergency. That I can see being a major issue because declaring it a federal emergency limits a lot of civil liberties. It's pretty much declaring martial law. And in regards to, like, I can understand certain provinces doing it right now, but I also understand why all the provinces need to sort of cooperate with one another to sort of keep it from, say, like right now, BC's hit bad. The BC's on the west coast. Well, if someone were to say travel from British Columbia to Alberta, or get on a domestic flight, well, suddenly that person might be carrying it to hundreds of people. New location, which is how I think it got in this city. So I can understand this being declared a federal emergency and the not quite martial law happens, if for no other reason then it'll better communicate between the provinces who's infected, who's not, who's traveling, who's not, which areas are quarantined, which areas are not. What about cell phones, smartphones? Like, someone's in quarantine not because of the 2-week self-isolation, but the fact that they're legitimately isolated. Well, most people don't tend to leave their house without their cell phone, without their phones, so what happens if it is declared an emergency? Is the government going to be hacking into people's GPSs on their phone to make sure they stay put? I mean, that's a major civil liberty. Is it going to get to that point? Is it at that point now? I mean, if it's going to get to that point anyways, you know what? As much as I really dislike governments, might as well shut up and get it done with now. You know? Get it over with before we start spreading it and it comes to the point where people are begging for these social liberties to be, or civil liberties to be taken away from them for the greater good. I mean, I am overall for the greater good, but I mean, let's be honest, the greater good can, a lot of people aren't pleased with anything because of the greater good, you know, including me. And also there's politics behind it. I mean, we just had a federal election. Say our Prime Minister does declare this a federal emergency and all these civil liberties get stripped away. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, right now I'm willing to bet that the opposing parties are more than happy to claim to let him, if for no other reason than he's not doing it right now. you know? But if he were to, like, I'm going to bet that's going to change in an instance. How dare he take away the civil liberties? I mean, people deserve to be free no matter what the pandemic is. So, you know, right now I see it should be obvious that I have even less faith in the government than I do with people, but, in regards to the government, I can see it being, even if it gets to the point where it becomes a necessity, no matter what happens, no matter what, even when things are all settled down and everything's back to normal, I can see this being used as great propaganda, especially against the Liberal Party who's currently in charge right now. I can see the Liberal Party using it as propaganda in regards to the spin, I guess. I usually tend to, I think propaganda is bullshit. I usually call it out, or call it out every time I see it, but I mean, even if say all the parties start working together in a sort of us versus them unified mentality, I can see this after the dust has settled down being a great propaganda machine for the sake of propaganda machine. And I completely forgot about this. It's been 43 minutes now. Wow. Nothing but plot significance, no action whatsoever. Over 43 minutes now. Wow. I know there's still more of this I have to do. And I think I have to find a letter. But frankly, I've been rambling like a moron for almost 44 minutes now. And frankly, I don't see people are being very entertained by it. I mean, I have a lot to say, don't get me wrong. But I feel as though what I've said enough. Take care, everybody, and bye.